so today I'm here for Top 5 Tuesday, and today's theme is going to be the top 5 books that I thought I would hate but I ended up loving, and I'm excited. Sometimes we just go into books expecting not to like them, or even in the first couple of chapters we just don't like what's happening, and then suddenly it just snaps and it becomes like the best book ever. And like some of these, I'm not going to say exactly that I loved them, but I did go in with expectations where I was just like, probably not gonna like this, and you do it for the hype or just to get it read. And this is why I really can't DNF books, because what if a book that I DNF'd ended up being the best book ever but I didn't give it that chance? So I always finish my books. But I'm excited to get into the list and talk about some books. So number 5 on my list is Zenith by Sasha Ellsberg and Lindsay Cummings. So this is the one that I'm like loosely saying I love it when I don't really. When this book came out and then we had all the drama of all the big booktubers rating it really highly and then everyday reviewers saying it was shit, I went into this with very low expectations, thinking I really wasn't going to like it, because clearly everyone was talking it up because Sasha is like one of the big booktubers and their friend. I was very worried about it, but actually this book was pretty good. I really liked this whole gang of girls in the space crew, and there was like love in the past that gets brought back up again, and a lot of different characters going on, and the world was pretty vast. I don't necessarily know if I'm going to read Nexus though, because the duology had a cover change. There's 2 books and you brought in a cover change? Why am I going to waste my money on it buying the first book again? Like, this doesn't make sense when there's only 2 books. So because of that, I ain't buying the second one, okay? I'm fine with what I read in Zenith. It's probably just going to end up being pretty generic anyway. Like, it isn't like it's something fresh. But from what I was feeling at the start of it to what I thought at the end was vastly different, and I ended up actually enjoying this book pretty well. Number 4 on my list is Strange the Dreamer by Laini Taylor. This is on this list because I never had any interest in reading this book. Katie Tastic was the one that I first saw talking about this book, and she was so excited for it that I went and looked at the synopsis and it didn't make any sense whatsoever. So I palmed it off because I'm like, I'm not going to read this. It sounds really boring. Why do I care? And I think I'd only just read Daughter of Smoke and Bone and I was still reeling from that book, so I didn't want to read this. I didn't have any interest in this book up until probably a month before it came out, because then all you guys, my friends, started talking about how excited you were for this book, and then I read the synopsis again. I still didn't know what was going on, but then I decided to go out on a whim and buy it, and then I started seeing everyone was obsessed and in love with it, and I will say that I did read it and I didn't get those exact feelings. It is a really epic fantasy and I gave it 4 stars, and for the fact that I had no interest in reading it to then picking up because everyone else was reading it, I just wanted to be in on the fun with all you guys. But I'm glad I did pick it up because it actually is a pretty amazing book, and I just find it funny that I did seriously have no interest in reading it, and then I picked it up and I was like, wow, that was good. Number 3 on my list is Anna and the French Kiss by Stephanie Perkins. So this book is on my list because it is one of the first times I tried to read a contemporary, and for so many years I could not read contemporaries because I hated them, okay? I couldn't read something that was about real life, and I wasn't into romance when I was like 12, so why would I want to read contemporaries when I could read about people slaying dragons, you know? So when I started BookTube and then I saw that contemporaries were actually very popular, I thought that I should start reading some to like reach a wider audience by not just reading fantasy. But I picked this one up because this is seriously the generic one that you should read if you haven't read contemporary before and you want to get into it. So I was very hesitant because I'm like, I'm gonna hate it, I'm gonna hate it, it's gonna be so boring, nothing's gonna happen. But then I was pleasantly surprised and I actually really enjoyed this, and I read the whole trilogy back to back. Lola and the Boy Next Door is my favorite, but I got to mention this one first because it really was my first step into contemporary, and I really thought it was going to be the worst thing ever, and I actually really enjoyed it, and I have not looked back because I've read so many more contemporaries since that moment. Number 2 on my list is Nevernight by Jay Kristoff. This book is got a love-hate relationship with me, honestly, because I picked it up again because everyone was reading it and getting excited, and this was also exciting for me because I was only just buying hardcovers at this point, so I was like, ooh, I got a really pretty hardcover. I have a problem with this book because the first 100 pages are so boring, and it's like, what's going on? And you don't get to the assassin school until like after that, so it's just her walking in the desert with some guy, and then suddenly the action starts happening. This book really didn't start out well, really did not, but then it just hit me and I was like, oh my god. And then when God's Grave came out, I read that straight away. I haven't really bought Dark Dawn yet though. I am gonna get it eventually, but like I'm not dying over here needing it. So this is one where I'm like, I enjoyed it pretty well. Like Mia can be a little bit annoying and I'm just a bit like sometimes, but damn, the start of this book compared to the end of the book is so different, and I really do need to know what's going to happen though. because stuff happened at the end of God's Grave and I'm excited yet scared. And number 1 on my list is Take 3 Girls by Kath Crowley, Simone Howell and Fiona Wood. I actually mentioned this in the My Beauty and the Beast book tag for like a similar kind of questiony prompt, so I thought I should do a whole theme about it. This is one that I just did not want to read. It was a book I got in the Wire Chronicles that sounded like the most boringest thing I've ever heard of, and I didn't want to read it. But I did the book buddy-a-thon with Sasha, and one of the challenges was we had to pick a buzzword for each other, and she picked girl. And I was like, wow, the only book on my bookshelf that has girl in the title, this one. So I picked it up and I remember ranting to her so much, like, this is gonna be so shit, I'm gonna lose my mind, I'm not gonna get any reading done. And then I read this in like 3 days and my life is different. I love this book so much. If any of you have this book and you haven't read it yet, please pick it up because it was so good. I highly recommend it. It just feels so real and it's just got such a good take on what it means to be a teenager, and they don't shy away from topics that other books try to like romanticize. Like, there is stuff happening. They talk about having sex for the first time, they talk about their periods, they talk about female friendships, and there is just so much going on. And it also shows the way that social media can be so triggering to young girls when all they get on social media is guys telling them that they're ugly and stupid, which is so dumb. And I just love the way that these girls banded together and everything is just amazing. And it's sad, but it's also great. And I'm so glad I read it. It was so good and I just couldn't believe how much I didn't want to read it to it becoming like one of my favorite books of last year. So guys, these are all the books that I'm so glad that I did give the chance to keep reading and to actually get through, because they're all amazing really and I loved them. Like, Zenith's just down the bottom because it's on the list, but it's still like, it's just because it's so generic and kind of tropey that it can't be like the best book ever. But considering how I felt at the start, and it's the same with all of them, like how I felt at the start of reading all of these books is completely different to how I felt at the end. And really that's the whole point of this list, is just saying that sometimes your thoughts change, and especially when you have new information, it can change as well. But anyway guys, hopefully you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!